Hi, my name's Matt and I'm lucky enough to be given the opportunity to brew on the brand new G40 system from Grainfather. Previously I've used the G30 system for about 6 years, so all the comparisons I talk about in the brew day video will be directly related to the G30 to the G40. So I hope you enjoy. It looks like a great system so far. I'll take you through some of the new features. The first cool new feature is the connect. It doesn't connect via Bluetooth anymore, this time it connects via Wi-Fi. This thing just sits on here via magnets as well, sits on nicely. As you can see alongside here, the recirc arm now has a little sight, so you can see your colour through there, and also the recirc actually goes inside now also, as you can see there as well. Going down into the actual kettle itself, you can see now that the hop filter is a little bit different. As we go in, here's the new hop filter, goes in and pushes in like that, so that whole thing now is a hop filter. Lowering the grain basket in now. It's a nice wide grain basket. Apparently it can do up to 13 kilograms. I'm going to try it out today for just over 11 kilograms. And most importantly, this is the bottom plate. Sits on a little ledge. There's no rubber gaskets or anything like that. There's no top plate. However, you can purchase a top plate if you feel like you need to, especially if you have larger grain bills as well. So they're just some of the quick features to show you that are new from the G30 to the G40. As we go through the brew day today, you'll see a few other bits and pieces as well, make it a bit easier. You might have noticed also inside the mash tun there's no centre pipe as well. They've improved the drainage on there as well, so it should be fine with the sparging as well. So we'll see how that goes as we go through the brew day. I'll be using the Grainfather Connect app today. As I said before, it connects via Wi-Fi. So this morning I already had my heating water in there ready to go for cleaning. So as soon as I woke up, I clicked on the heating and it started to heat straight away. So while I had breakfast and fed the kids and things like that, my cleaning water was getting ready up to temperature. I've just pressed the start brew and on here, and also, as you can see now, you can see from the graph, it tells you the temperature of where it's at right now, what you're trying to aim for as well. So today I'm brewing a red IPA. Looking at the Grainfather app, it's going to be fairly dark in colour, so we'll see how that one goes. Okay, I've got my strike water at temp now, so I'm going to start mashing in. I tend to like a bit more of a wet mash rather than a dry mash, so I've added a little bit extra water to what they suggested, but adjusted those numbers for my sparge later on as well. Again, it's quite easy to stir the mash because I don't have that centre pipe in there as well. So I'm all mashed in now, but as you can see, I'm at absolute capacity with that water getting right up to that little hole there. So one probably thing to think about is really trust the Grainfather app with regards to mash water literage and also sparge water. Recommends to have quite a large sparge, so something to think about for next time. So we've reached mash temp at 65. I'm brewing it a little bit lower because I want it to be a bit sweeter. And we're ready to go. So as you can see, the recirc arm is on. You can probably see the nice red colour already. I'll show you the sight glass very soon. And I'm going to go and sit on the couch now and watch the temperatures, and hopefully they don't fluctuate too much. So as you can see on the control panel, it tells you what step you're up to. It also tells you temperature and how long left of the mash as well. Moving on in, and the colour's looking pretty good right now already. So that was a bit interesting. I was off eating some breakfast, and I got a notification on my Apple Watch and my Apple phone saying that I had a slow flow rate and I had to come in and check it out. So that was pretty interesting to get a warning like that as well. Good little feature. So it's just hit halfway through the mash at 30 minutes, and the app has reminded me that I need to start my sparge water. So I got a notification saying that I needed to start my sparge water, which was a good reminder because I was just starting my yeast starter and I forgot about the sparge water, so that was really handy. The temperature seems to be fluctuating a little bit, but that seems to be okay for now. So halfway through the mash, we're ready to go. Alright, it's time for the sparge, so now it's time to see how strong I am, trying to get this 11.5 kilo grain bill out. We'll see how it goes. I know what you're thinking. You made it look easy. Thank you. The sparge actually went quite quickly. I was quite impressed about the sparge. So now we're just trying to get it up to temperature for boil. So we'll see how long this takes. So we've just reached our first hop edition. Gave me a notification on the screen that we needed to do our first one at 50 minutes. I'd usually use a spider, but I'm not going to do. I'm going to test out this hop filter and see how it goes. I'm using about 100 grams of hops in the boil in total in this one, so we'll see how that new filter tests out. Okay, so it's time for my second hop edition. Probably should have told you last time that I'm using Columbus for my bittering hop in my red IPA. I like Columbus for a bittering hop in my IPAs. I've used it for West Coast recently. That beeping noise is telling me that it's time. I'm just going to press set there to turn that off. Probably something to note that it hasn't really got heaps of a rolling boil going on at the moment. When you stir it, it does get a bit of a rolling boil going, but you can tell it's actually definitely boiling though, but it's just not really rolling. So second one going in now. So that's the end of the brew day for now. We're going to chilling mode at the moment, and I've just run one bucketful of water through the immersion to the chiller, and at the moment I've gone from 100 degrees down to 83. So that's pretty good, considering it's not much, not a very big bucket. So I'll probably do one more bucket load. I don't like to waste too much water, and then I'll just transfer it into the fermenter and put it in the fridge and pitch the yeast once it's ready to go. I'll give you an update in 2 seconds. So just transferring now across to the fermenter. Obviously I'm not set up for this yet, so I need to get a bigger fermenter. I've got 2 smaller ones I'll use for now. Interesting things from today, positives of the new system. The app actually works really well with it. It's quite easy to use. You get notifications throughout the day. If you've got something when you put hops in, etc., heat up sparge water, gives you other tips of things you can do while you're waiting as well. The simplicity of all the parts is pretty interesting as well, whereas before in the G30 had so many parts that you had to put together. This one's just grain basket, bottom plate. It's a lot easier to do, which is great. Probably took a little bit longer to get up to boil. I mean, it's a lot more liquid, and probably the rolling boil wasn't as much. But all in all, I mean, it's a great system, and you know, I think it's really great that you can make 2 kegs at a time. I don't get much time to make beer at all, so to have an opportunity to make 2 kegs at one time is pretty good. So all in all, a great system. I really enjoy it, and I'm really happy to have this opportunity to test out the G40. So thank you very much. Just going to give you a quick look at how the hop filter fared. I think it's pretty good in the end. As you can see, there's not too much liquid left in the bottom there, and all the hops are actually centered around the actual hop filter. If I was to push the pump it a bit more, I'll probably get that last little bit out, but I'm not going to worry because I don't need any more in the actual fermenter itself. I think they did a pretty good job, so in the end. So I managed to get exactly 40 litres, which I was after, and as you can see by the refracto, 160, and the target was 160. So it's a couple of days after brew day now, and I thought I'd summarise how the day went and all my thoughts. All in all, it was a very positive brew day with the new G40 from Grainfather. I hit my numbers perfectly. I was after 40 litres. I got 40 litres. I was after 1,060 gravity-wise, and I got 1,060 exactly. So I was really happy with that. It's definitely a bigger unit than the G30, but only as width-wise. It's actually the same height as the G30. And now Grainfather have the G30, the G40, and the big G70 in their range, as well as their fermenters and the glycol chillers as well, etc. But they are also going to introduce a new S series, which consists of an S40 system and fermenter. But I haven't been given any more information about that at this stage, so I'm sure that'll come out pretty soon. The G40 system weighs around 29 kilograms in total and has a 46 litre capacity. The biggest batch size you can do is around 40 litres, and the smallest you can do is 10 litres. It currently works off a 10 amp system, but can be converted to a 15 amp system if you get a qualified electrician to convert it as well if you need to. I have a whole list of positives here, quite a few list of positives. The app works really well with the system. As I mentioned in the clip, I had my cleaning water all ready to go in the system, and as soon as I woke up in the morning, I got onto the app and I just clicked heat. That way, while I was doing a few bits and pieces in the kitchen with the kids in the morning, it was heating up to the right temperature so I can get the clean going straight away. That was really effective. You can monitor the temperatures via a graph as well, and it controls the heating and the pump via the app also, which is quite easy. The app gives you notifications along the way. It tells you when to add hops, it tells you that your mash is finished, etc. Your water temp is at the right temperature, or even when you're having a slow flow rate as well, which I got at one point. So I had to go back into the garage and check why I had a slow flow rate. A bit of grain got stuck in the thing, which is good. Also, it gave me a reminder to heat my sparge water. I was in here doing a yeast starter, and I forgot to actually put my sparge water on, so that reminded me, which was really cool. And also it gave you helpful hints along the way, like right now you could be cleaning your grain basket while this is happening, for example. The app didn't drop out once because it's obviously controlled by Wi-Fi now as well, so it was really, really reliable. I found putting the recipe in was quite easy, and then starting the brew with the recipe worked really well. I really enjoyed the lack of parts. With the G30, they have so many parts to put together the grain basket. So it was really good just to have the hop filter, which is quite big, the grain basket and the bottom plate to really work with. That's also helped with cleaning as well, because you don't have to clean as many parts. So that was really, really helpful. And it's also nearly impossible to forget to put the hop filter in, and also knock the hop filter off as well. There's no center pipe or those rubber gaskets. I was so sick of putting those rubber gaskets on the bottom plate. But you can purchase the top plate if you want to, if you so desire to do that, if you want to do bigger grain bills as well. The recirc arm has a sight glass now, so you can actually check out the colour of the beer as you go through as well, through there, but also has a measuring increments alongside that recirc arm as well, which means also you can have your lid on the whole time, because the recirc arm is inside, and you don't have to have a big hole in the middle of your lid like the G30 had previously. The chiller has a very long cable, which means you can place in the whole chiller in an ice bath if you want to, which makes the chilling quite faster as well. And the new grain basket has great mods on it because of the drainage down the side, so the sparge works quite well. I didn't use any oats or wheat in this recipe, and that tends to slow down my sparges, but the drainage was quite good in the sparge, I thought. It was a very, very quick sparge, which, sparges are usually quite painful sometimes, especially if you have those oats in there. It's really good that you can make 2 kegs at once. I don't get much time to brew nowadays, so for me to have the ability to brew a 40 litre system, 40 litres at a time, and have 2 kegs was quite good. The hop filter works really well. I used 100 grams in the brew day. The transfer was really quite fast. There was no blockage at all. And as I got the hop filter out, I had to actually scrape the hops off it. But yeah, it was really good. I really thought that the hop filter worked really well, and I don't need to use a hop spider anymore, which is a really good thing, I think. The cleaning was super easy because, well, again, there's no parts. There's hardly any parts to it, which was really, really, really positive. Some of the negatives, to say, lack of a better word, the boil did take a little time to get up to boil temperature, and it wasn't the best rolling boil. It was a bit of a cold day in Adelaide, but the rolling boil probably was a bit lacking. The size of the grain basket means that you need to run quite a dryish mash and a fairly large sparge, but that isn't really a huge problem at all. And I did use a 11.5 kilo grain bill. I was aiming for over 6% beer. You can get up to 13 kilos. That's where I think that maybe the top plate might help a little bit as well. I would probably like the measurement increments inside the kettle as well, not just on the sight arm, just because when the pump's running, you can't actually tell how much is left in there, and that helps with transfer, I think. I do worry a little about the rubber piece inside the recirculation arm, could wear out quickly, but Grainfather actually have provided replacement spares already for that, so they've already thought ahead there in that instance. Just full disclosure, I've made some mistakes on brew day. They're human errors. It's because I haven't actually used, firstly, the Connect before and the G40 before, so these are the few of the things that you might see in the video that I made a mistake on. I adjusted the water volume of the mash and the sparge, and I've done this before on the G30 and it worked fine. However, if you add too much into the mash, as you could see in the video, it gets really close up to those little lifting holes. So that could be an issue fixed by the top plate maybe, but yeah, that was my mistake. That wasn't the Grainfather's mistake at all. The temperature fluctuations were also my fault. I was supposed to wait for the strike water to get up to 72. I waited to get up to 65, and then I put my grain in, and then the grain actually pulled the temperature way down to 62. I waited for a while, and then I manually put the temperature up to 68, and that's why it went up to 68, and then I put it back to 65. So that was all my fault. That wasn't actually the actual Grainfather doing that, and if I had actually followed what it suggested to do, it might have been a lot easier. But yeah, again, a couple of human errors, and that's mainly put down to because I haven't used the Connect before with the app, and also haven't used the G40 before. So, just small little learning curves that I'll rectify next time. But again, all in all, I had a very easy brew day on the G40. There are several improvements that have been made between the G30 and the G40. I look forward to obviously brewing again and tasting my red IPA that I brewed on the weekend. I would like to thank Grainfather for trusting me with the G40 and the opportunity to test this product before it hit the market. I would also like to disclose that this unit was provided to me for free, but all the opinions that are voiced in this video are mine, and they're based on one brew day experience. I hope this video is informative for you, and I'm always happy to field other questions if you want to make contact. But all in all, had a great experience with the G40 Grainfather brewing system, and I look forward to brewing some more beers with it as well. So here's an Imperial Stout. Cheers.